here, baby. She's her bear. Here. Walk with the bear. Come here. The bear makes her walk. Hi. Bear. Bear. Bear, bear, bear. Hug. Bear. Hug. Yeah. Look at big girl. Get over here! Hey, baby. Hey, baby. It's good to see you, Missy. Say hello. You smell like Mexican. It is nap time for Miss Rue. Ah! Yeah. Hi, baby. I'll see you later. What are you smiling? Bye, baby. I love you. Okay, so let's see. What's the prize? Okay, play-ins. I don't even know who Fur is. Also, I thought BLG was good. And isn't Gambit like Vietnam? Fur is Brazil. Okay, let's go ahead and put them at the bottom. Okay, I'm gonna go bottom. Okay, is it bugged? You have to do it from the website. Okay, can I pick now? Wait, if you get perfect, you get skins. Wow, no cash. Okay, make picks. G2 2, BLG 1, Fur dead last, Vietnam 4. Easy. That is easy. That is so easy. That is so easy, by the way. That is easy. G2's dog shit. It's easy. So get second. These are all correct, by the way. So how do I do it? Is it okay? It's locked already. That's it. Game over Fur's crazy. Isn't Gambit usually pretty good? I've never heard of Fur, so I'm not voting for them. If they were something impressive, I would have heard of them. I'll be honest. I might not be doing this today. I'm kind of like fake excitement, dude. If it's not Korea or if it's not NA, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Like, I can sit here and hate watch EU, but I'm kind of even over hate watching EU.
Everyone kind of knows him as that kid who made it to rank 1 in EU. So
Jesus. Oh, we're posting Reddit threads. I can't ever escape from Reddit. We love Reddit over here.
And you have two players that have a lot in common, not so much on the picks they play, but on the wackiness and wildness that they bring on the top.
We're pulling out all the stops here.
Really,
we got the Reddit post. We got the little craft board.
Even some of their
Let's go, guys.
Picks, like the Camille is one that I definitely point out. That
I wonder what the reasoning is behind using that over just having a graphic on the screen. The arts and crafts department is tapped in. They sure are.
That angle will present itself here as we make our way into the draft. It'll be Furia on the blue side for game 1. G2 electing to go to red. Remember that G2 get the side selection because of their seeding from first stand. Carmine Corp got second place in that tournament. That gives G2 the edge here. So they're opting for the red side.
Who's even played in Pro? I actually have no idea.
I've seen some
I see a Pantheon ban.
Some bigger ones on point 12, but nothing to the extent of the shifts that we have seen before, right? Everyone can remember the Morgana Rumble MSI.
Yeah, that was a memorable one. That was a bit of a traumatic one for me personally.
Yeah, as a no-skiff, and also I wasn't the biggest fan. As we do see the TF, that's been one of the picks that people have really been talking about.
Yeah,
benefiting both from the buffs, and we already saw him kind of pop up towards the tail end of a lot of playoffs. And as you highlight, G2 going towards the red side. One of the things I do love about Furia is their willingness to fully commit to a draft. I think they're both their Sejuani to kind of just stand out when you think of this, right? Being very happy to just go all the way. And on the red side, you do have a lot more opportunity to respond to those solo lanes, get favorable matches.
Dude, stop taking all the time.
Like Gigo
you can't. I can't.
Too hard.
Yeah, we've got the Yone, the Pantheon, the Twisted Fate banned out by Furia. Over on the G2 side, double AD carry bans, looking at IU, looking at the mechanical prowess there of the Brazilian AD carry, but also the Jax ban towards Gigo like you're talking about. And hey, Talia's up and open, Talia's locked in. I am entirely unsurprised.
Yeah, this goes unchanged. Talia still
Vi's picked. Ludwig did play Vi.
Vi Ahri, one of those jungle mid combos that at any point in the last like 4 years you could have picked up. It wouldn't have been too surprising.
And the Vi Ahri also being a good denial. Vi also a great pairing with the Talia to be able to set up the combo for the seismic shove. So you get your duo, you deny them a good duo. Feels like a really good response there for the first 2 picks of G2. Let's see how Furia wants to respond to this one.
Come on, Brazil!
On the second pick, sitting on this Shenjiao hover for a while, and they will go ahead and lock that one in. Another skirmisher that can scrap a lot early.
Come on, Brazil!
A lot more dueling power than the Vibe, but obviously doesn't have the same level of backline access.
Remember last time I co-streamed EWC, I was like familiar with the pro meta because I had co-streamed LCS or LTA now. I remember that. So I actually knew. I haven't watched pro play in a hot minute. I have no idea what's meta.
That is a big show of confidence here towards Gigo as it comes through.
Yeah, throughout the spring split for Gigo, this was tied for his most.
I think it was like Jax and Rumble.
With 4 picks. Gigo is a player who is
and
unafraid to pick whatever
Kasante
is going to
like
work best for the
Aatrox's
game.
meta in pro play, isn't that exciting?
The state of the global meta game. So we'll see what BROKENBLADE is ready
pretty
to
fun,
pick
exciting top
the
champ.
Kaisa is going to be locked instead, securing the AD carry for G2 before the second round of the bans come in. And look at this chronicler. G2 is already right back to the AD carry game, continuing to hit that pool.
Yeah, I don't think IU is going to be having the best of time.
Probably not.
The Kaisa, one of the downsides that you can run into it, obviously, is that the laning phase is relatively weak, but you already have an extremely strong dive core, and now we're also banning away things like the Xayah. Wouldn't be surprised if something like
sports betting? Yes, dude, now that, hey.
When it comes to a ton of innate safety.
I'm gonna tell you, dude, low key.
Possibilities for IU are getting
people
smaller,
love betting because they have addictions.
Dude,
that would give this game right here, like, imagine if this game had sports betting right now.
To go for a support counter pick,
like, that gives incentive to watch,
some
right?
of Kaisa's weaker matchups where
actually, because people love it. People love gambling.
Is going to get taken off the board.
Not a final AD carry ban for G2 though, but a very effective peel champion in the Alistar. Like you already said, you've got a dive comp. You've got
you can already bet on it
that can dive along with it. This is looking
mind,
like a real torpedo coming out from G2 Esports in the first half of the draft. So being able to shut down Furia's ability to stop that dive, I like what I'm seeing. Now, do Furia want to ban one more top laner? Yes, they do. They will keep the Gwen away from BROKENBLADE.
And looking at this, the Renata to me stands out as something that G2 probably wants to be very careful of. The Nico is still open. That's been one of the most popular counter picks we've seen into the Renata, and obviously when it comes to the laning phase, can really make life hard for her. But if you are already fully committed to playing this
I don't think my solo games have gotten bet on in a minute.
Really ruin your day. As this is something
WARWICK
banned so many times against
is this meta?
BROKENBLADE, and it looks like those banned were warranted as the WARWICK comes out.
Bro, what the fuck? Wait, top lane's exciting as now. Aatrox versus WARWICK?
BROKENBLADE is exactly the same. He will throw down the WARWICK to deal with this Aatrox. The fact that you can use the WARWICK Q to buffer through some of those sweet spots on the Aatrox Qs is such a powerful outplay tool. Nila locked in for IU. You want to try to dive onto an AD carry? How about an AD carry with a dodge mechanism?
Not only that, but Nila loves it when the entire team tries to jump into her, right? She can get so much value from the ultimate. I'm kind of loving this. And the Rakan, I think, is also a good pick away. There is still the Poppy open, so I do think that's kind of a smash hit, especially
that's a really good Poppy
pick
as
well. Even something like the Zinzo can really struggle with that. Poppy to me is also one of those picks that just all has value. But I love
everybody
this.
on their
This
is
exactly what we were talking about earlier with the ability and the willingness to just do these type of picks. So the Nila we have seen every now and then, right? It is a very niche champion. As you highlighted, she's very short range. Technically not melee, but let's be real, kind of melee.
Come on, cue it up. Let's see how this is.
And the ability to serve as both counter dive as well as
we are full backing Brazil.
Amount of burst initially with
full back. They have my full support. We are rooting for Brazil.
I wonder how well IU and Jojo are going to be able to use that. The experience, right? In case you're not familiar with Nila, because obviously isn't a very popular champion by any means, if she's able to last hit, gets full value for both her and her lane partner in terms of experience. So building early level leads can snowball very quickly, right? We've seen in any region, in any point of League of Legends, the level 2 power spike be kind of a... Even though we feel like at this point we should all know, we still see teams get caught
Lucian level 2 power. Oh my god.
So often.
Seems like just yesterday.
Whole situation even more complicated.
I'm really looking forward to this. Anyone that's watched some LTA South so far this split knows that IU is a very mechanically gifted player. He is someone who's got the hands to be able to pilot whatever he needs to pilot to get the team to a good spot. And with those EXP advantages naturally built into the champion that you're talking about, I want to see the TA South bot lane, build themselves up an advantage.
Start!
Could then be a win condition in this matchup that the community is predicting to be 85% favored for G2
Thank
Esports.
you.
As we get into game, can't wait to see
I
what we're
thought
going to have.
they were gonna do like a
ourselves here
hype
today.
intro.
Flowers.
It's the first game of
I was
MSI.
looking at the rune
There's
setups.
no like
Not seeing
zooming or
anything
something.
too out of the ordinary just yet. The other thing, as we talked a lot about the TF, that is definitely going to be a token borders tournament, is that unsealed spellbook that we see here on JoJo. A rune that got buffed a couple of patches ago. We already saw so many supports go to it in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And no different here.
Show top lane.
You
Show
lose some of
top
that early
lane.
trading power that you might have with something like a Guardian or similar, but as the game goes forward, you have so many more options. You have so many more ways to just catch your
turn it down a
opponents.
little bit.
Not if they're not on top of it, always keeping track.
Ryan,
of
so
you're
what?
doing. There's plenty of opportunities to manage to throw a curveball.
Wait,
at them as we
this
see
layout
Hanzama
is a
and
bit-
Labrov make their way into the bottom lane, looking for early
Wait, did they
positioning
remove
here
it from
side
the
rush.
sides and
Is
put
we
it in
see
the
Hanzama
middle?
there.
New Broken Blade here.
Wait,
As you
they
already
did?
highlighted, there is the ability for Broken Blade to deny some of the CC that comes through from Guigo. But I also think it's important to
This
note
is-
how Aatrox works in a lot of matchups.
Okay, this is going to be pretty
Basically
tough for a
functions like
viewer
kind of
who's
soft
been
play
watching for a
champion,
while,
You're
right?
really just looking to get Q1 sweet spots. Eventually, you hit enough CDR, but you don't want to go up against this lethal.
I'm so
tempo
used to
Warwick,
looking
'cause it
right
might
here
look
for
like he's low.
HP bar.
This Broken Blade is walking it off, but the sustain for a Warwick, as we're going to see now, I fear for Gigo, is something that's tough to deal with.
Yeah.
Like by
Broken
habit.
Blade on that Warwick. The champion is so deceptive in the way that it works,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't seem like he should be able to win a lot of the fights that he does, but if the player knows his limits on the champion, if the pilot
Ooh,
is
that's gonna take
adept
some getting
at
used
the
to.
character,
No, can I look at the HUD?
we know that
There's like
Broken Blade
spamming
has
stuff on the bottom so we can't see the HUD.
make it
Come
work.
on, guys.
Is just trying to stay.
Okay, big trade.
Broken Blade takes a turret shot.
He's never gonna die
Too
there, by the
happy
way.
about that one, but still,
Like right now, when they're
EXP
playing the ads,
on the
I
same
can't
level.
see
Broken Blade
information
just
on the
wants
left
to
side
get
or the right
crashed
side,
in,
right?
looked for an extra Q
I
there,
can't
quick
see anything.
With a nice little punish with a Q2.
Like, how's bot lane's health?
Broken Blade's gonna get the full crash.
Yeah. Also do note, we have seen iterations of this Warwick where you play with barrier, which
Yes.
is true. Like you can
The solo
straight up,
queue style.
you can straight up 1v2 or 1v2, right? If the enemy jungler shows up, very important that ward also highlighted. We see the ping; they did see it go down.
This is really hard for me.
Broken
I'm not gonna
Blade
lie.
wasn't really in a position to get
Like
ganked
that-
because
this
he
is
did get
trippy as
a scratch,
shit.
was just backing off. But there was also the knowledge on G2. I think also JoJo showed up a little bit late.
Oh
towards
shit,
lane.
sub counter up there.
Looking at bot lane though, we already see
shit.
very early.
We got a little sub counter. I didn't know that.
Relative
Let's
lack
go,
of
boys.
strength of
Sub
the
up!
matchup, but if you get an early lead, and also the Poppy obviously does really shift that matchup because what you're going to do as Rakan.
Oh shit, the long name subbed.
needs to be respected.
Owie.
Already being built there, and no experience actually going over because again, you do need to last hit on the Nila to get full value of that passive.
Okay, Tatu just going to clear out that topside Scuttle Crab. You can see the bottom one was already secured there by Skewmon from G2.
Please, I can't see the
Looks like we
HP
might
bars,
see Tatu
man.
try to make something happen up here, but he is going to walk over that ward in the Pixel Brush that was placed down by Broken Blade. So Broken Blade knows, hey, just play it nice and slow here. Allow this wave to continue pushing up. Don't go too crazy here onto Gigo. Tatu already taking his back as Broken Blade. Just again, trying to constantly be as aggressive as you can.
Has no
using those
Q.
Qs on cooldown with the Warwick. Nice slam.
I think
to the wall
Poppy's
there
so
from
broken.
Labrov
It's actually
on this.
such a good
Poppy,
pick here.
steadfast presence on the back end of things just to try to make it so if JoJo jumps in and then tries to battle dance back out, he will be interrupted. And I do want to keep an eye on how effective Labrov is with these steadfast presences this game. It's
Top
very
lane, go to
powerful
top lane. I
against
just wanna see
Rakan.
top.
It also has
Top.
pretty great effect against Xinjiao, Nila, and Aatrox as well. Just super,
There we
super
go.
good pick, I think.
Show me
here
that
on
lane. Here we go.
G2. Broken
It really
Blade.
is.
Yep.
Takes
Oh,
it out.
come on.
Broken Blade.
Come on.
Flash away. Gigo near.
Oh, I forgot. It's pro play, so he doesn't have barrier.
Was death's door for the dog.
Yeah,
He's gonna TP back. That's fine. It's his flash. He has a CS lead as well. No TP. Wait, no TP's long as fuck. He's gonna have a real CS lead.
So that won't be too heavy of a payment. But losing the Summoner does mean that it might provide an opportunity to get this Aatrox out of the lane. He is going to use it immediately, I imagine, to try and maybe get an opportunity to play elsewhere on the map. because I don't think BROKENBLADE in time would have been able to
Hey,
really
it through
get the shot.
upstairs.
Obviously, WARWICK early on doesn't have the greatest wave clear.
Yeah.
Does rely on his items to really get that going. You do need to be careful though in this
Here we
longer
go.
lane. I know he just went.
Oh, he
back.
built executioners. It's good.
He's still going. The lethal tempo stacking.
Yeah, BROKENBLADE's looking to keep this
He's
one
fine. He's fine. Nice flash.
Here, Gigo flashes away from it so he doesn't get
Hughes, come back up now.
Gigo's
Yep.
gonna need the Qs to come back up yet again.
Oh! Brazil, bitch!
Kill for Gigo in the top lane. BROKENBLADE.
Fuck you!
G2's looking for a counter punch here in the bottom side instead. IU's gonna be in some danger. Slam back into the wall from LeBron.
Nice little
but
get
now
out.
dashes away to try to escape.
Oof.
Flash from Hansama. And
You just
G2
died to that, bro.
evens up the score.
Really big that they get the kill there onto IU because they needed to make an immediate cross map. An unforced
unfortunate.
error there as Gigo just straight up solo bolus.
Okay, so does BROKENBLADE play WARWICK a lot?
Maybe overestimating his sustain.
I'm confused,
Could
'cause that's
also be
really
that he thought
newbie.
He was going to hit level 6. I didn't see what it, but looking at the XP timer, there's no shot, right? Because even now, he's not really that close to 6. This is a Zinzao
Steal it.
here.
Come on, baby.
And look for the steal.
Get in there.
Threw out the wind becomes lightning, but didn't find a target with it. Now jumping in after LeBron. JoJo's ready to show.
Third auto, auto.
Might fight over there.
Yes!
As there it is, TY for Leash. Furia secures themselves the first Drake after G2 started it up in their faces.
He plays it in
Go to
LCE.
13.
Is G2 just
Got the
wash?
Doesn't matter. As there
That
we
why
saw,
they're in
G2,
play-ins?
again, understandably, that you want to try and get Drake as well. You just got a successful playoff towards the bot side. As we take a look here, and
It was a nice flash.
if you have barrier, I can see this work, right? Like, and it's
Okay.
something that we often go towards. Even then, I think it is really risky, but you have so much build and sustain on the passive on your W. But even without that level up, like, this wasn't particularly close. And you see, BB as well knows this was.
Yeah.
He's tilted.
It didn't even feel like it was a necessity, right? There's situations where I feel like if your wave state is really
He can
well,
just
what you
ult
need to
away.
do- His wave state was
He's gonna have to
fine.
ult away.
We might just have another problem here, Chronicle.
He's gonna ult too, 'cause his jungle's coming. I think he still wins.
Gigo's trying to make this
Flash.
into another
Nice!
kill.
Bro, we're getting spot killed by freaking Brazil!
Foolish.
Ah!
3-1.
Let's go, baby!
Yeah, the first one.
Now it's starting to get a bit. Now he's gonna start to tilt.
Much sustain you have. That one though.
Now he's gonna start to tilt a little bit, huh?
Just be giving leads like this as Gigo on the Aatrox, full of confidence, understandably has the ultimate available, and if BROKENBLADE goes for this play,
He ulted in way too early. I think he has to know that.
The time there again, Gigo
Like right
able to
here, his jungle
simultaneously
isn't coming.
stack his
I
conqueror,
wonder what the
move
comms
away
are.
from the fear, and then here he still gets the damage off, and the executioners means that BROKENBLADE doesn't heal that much. Qmon sees this like, if I go into that Aatrox when it's clear my work, I'm gonna get blown up. Like there's
They're
no
laughing
shot
at
that
him.
You win that. There's just not enough
They're laughing.
damage. And
Same.
the miscommunication there, the timing from BROKENBLADE not quite on point, but then we look at the gold graph, and we do need to talk about the bot lane situation.
Yeah.
Because that one is looking
Oh,
a
that
lot
lane
better for
swap.
G2, and it's
No.
They're still sitting on a gold lead.
Exactly.
No.
Have built themselves an impressive lead down here in the bottom lane. Caps now having to
No,
use that spear
all
rush
the
to
fun
get
is
away from
gone.
JoJo, who did go for the grand entrance after him. Caps only needed the single charge, but forcing the ulti out. Still going to be a win there in the mid lane. At the same time, it looks like Furia is now going to collect
last time I
all three
watched, it was
gloves,
lane
no
swap
contest.
meta.
So both of the first
So I've
neutral
actually missed all the
objectives
top lane
go
fights.
over to the side of Furia and Tatu. They are still down in that gold like you talked about. Hansama is still up almost 4 full
Are they just like
waves
perma
of
lane
farm
swap now?
in that Kai'Sa
Boo.
matchup down in the bottom lane. And back to what you were talking about.
Boo.
All those lesser last hits for IU are an even bigger
Boo.
problem because of the nature of Neela and her passive.
The funniest thing, though, despite everything, if you look at IU, he's still ahead in experience. Even and that kind of.
But imagine where he could be.
I know it could be so much. And that's kind of puts into perspective the value of the Neela. Neela to me is also one of the picks where
He's not
her
that
first
bad.
spike
Really
feels
strong
okay,
player.
but particularly when you get to that traditional break point for AD carries.
And an Aatrox
the
swap?
3-item spike when you get all your crit online.
Pretty sure,
She becomes so tanky because
His bot was getting ran.
with the amount of healing that is in her kit, as you get later into the game, there's obviously going to be more of a 5v5 situation, and actually shutting her down becomes really hard. That said, Hans has set up on literally every single member of his team as LeBron.
Okay, calm it down. She has everything. Calm it down.
Chase for a little bit longer, it looks like.
Calm it down.
Slightly more at least. JoJo goes in further than everyone else. This might have been
What are you doing, man?
Miscalculation here from JoJo.
Calm down, I
Nobody
said,
else
boy.
Furia following up on that play, so JoJo just getting a little bit too excited, maybe a bit ahead of himself. Loses half his health bar for it. Luckily, not forcing out any sums though.
Second dragons in a minute.
Not the end of the world. We do see. I think we saw some hesitation there where they're like, is this
Warwick
a trap?
build?
Like,
Does he go
are we
Blade
being
or does he go
baited in?
Titanic? What does he
It
build? I
wasn't,
can't remember.
But obviously, Furia doesn't know
I've,
that,
gotta be
as
quick.
Ego on his
Gotta be
way.
quick.
Timing
Gotta be
could
quick.
here for
The Sugar Vision of
Skewmon
Vi.
to
Sugar
save
Vision of
his
Vi.
top laner.
Yeah, this would be a big one there for Skewmon.
Does he get
Immediately
stunned for walking
BROKENBLADE
over?
trying to jump in with a counter ulti as Gigo is going too far, and it's a beautiful
God.
shutdown from Skewmon.
Oh, shit.
Chase him down with a Vi ulti. Toots tries to escape with a seismic shove defensively, but
Phase
Caps
rush.
is on the hunt. He clears the unravel.
Oh my
Another
God.
charge of the Spirit Rush is ready to go, and Toots is trapped as the feet of Warfare.
There's nothing I want to
is
happen ever
played
happen.
by G2.
Oh, the blast cone. They didn't quite get him to safety the way he was hoping for, and that is a big, big win here
He's still stronger.
for G2 as they get really 2 uncontested kills. There's no cross map available. That is also a shutdown, I'm pretty sure, going over there from Gigo, and that dive towards topside felt like maybe
Man,
a
I'm
little bit too
surprised he
telegraphed.
didn't check
Skewmon
Krugs
in the
first,
correct
though.
position.
Yeah.
And even a Talia wall can't get you away from Vi. Unfortunately,
Has flash.
Let's see. Doesn't look like we're going to get a whole lot more here, but I do want to give props to Skewmon
Nice.
playing in his
Why-
first international event, being able to have the game sense, have the knowledge.
Bro, I'm not
have the
gonna lie,
presence
I could play
to
pro.
stop what would
Easily.
have been another
Easily.
disaster up there in the top lane. If Skewmon's not in the right spot, all of a sudden BROKENBLADE is even further behind.
Skewmon.
Toots now could be in a bit of a rough
Nice
spot
oracles.
himself. Skewmon, ulti not
He's really
ready to
starting
go
this
again on the
dragon.
buy just yet, so Toots can get plenty of
Really?
distance in
We're
time.
starting
Furia
dragon
is
here.
going to start up the next Drake themselves, but they got to be careful. Hans
Oh, nice! He
He
hit the-
stop him, but instead Hans is going to get caught out.
Oh, shit.
Defensively, and now Skewmon is coming
Why
in
has no
for a
ult?
counter
Why
attack.
still has no ult, maybe?
Furia
Why has no ult?
played
Pilot it.
yet again.
There's Brakan's back. Pilot it.
Forward and try to make something happen.
Nila,
Lightning
no
fire
juice from
back.
Nila?
Tatu
What a
down
juice?
50 HP. He's got to continue his retreat. Nobody dead on either side.
That
G2
looks winnable.
has the full health.
Oh, she has no
Just
items. How much
control of the
unspent
Drake.
gold?
Really big win for
Nila
G2
is
because they get a bunch
Dirk.
of sums with
Kaisa
that as
is
well.
full
As we do see,
Guntail.
Tatu had to use his flash. He also used there for JoJo. And they get the dragon, and the first dragon plus the first.
Surely she's gotta be sitting on a lot of gold here.
The only couple
Okay,
of grubs
full
now
build
obviously,
collector.
went over to Furia, but not.
Yeah, so
going
top lane,
to
baby.
be continuing that objective stacking. And this is kind of what I think unfortunately happens often, right? Like the early laning, it looked great, but when it comes to these movements on the map, this play just a little bit too telegraphed. And now you see that TP coming in as well. They were ready. They knew this was coming, right? The wave crash was obviously being prepared, as there, unfortunately, doesn't quite make it out. As that's one of the longest files I've seen.
Yeah, that was cross-country Vi ulti.
Are we really gonna show his blast cone? Like, bro, he's a kid.
With Caps only having a single charge on his ult, I think he would have gotten out, especially with the Talia passive. If he just gets to the turret, I think he might have been fine. Caps still did have flash, so maybe
This
he
is
dies
shit.
nonetheless. But that's definitely going to sting. And now, gold lead being further built upon there for G2.
Yep, 30 seconds left until the turret plates fall. The Drakes are 1-1, so it's not like Fury is starting towards a Drake stacking win condition, really. They got 3 grubs, that's going to feel nice.
Did
but
it sort
grubs are
of
always
readjust
down
to
payment
this
objective,
HUD?
right? You still need to be able to get plates, you still need to be able to get turrets. with
Poppy
them
has
to really get
item,
great
Rakan,
value. And
nothing
G2
yet.
is commanding a solid gold lead. It's
Caps
that
is
much harder to make
bigger.
that happen.
Jungle's
BROKENBLADE
even.
obviously has been the one struggling the
gap,
most in the early
big.
game here for G2, but on the Warwick now, just continuing to try to farm up, make sure that he stays relevant for when it gets
I think
time for
Aatrox
those
is strong
bigger
as shit
fights,
in solo
so that they
as
can
well.
deal with Furia in a team fight scenario.
Let's see the ward getting spotted there.
Oh boy. BROKENBLADE defensive ulti trying to walk away.
got his flash?
Skewmon
Oh, he's
flashing
sending it.
out of the way
Battle.
there of the seismic shove and unraveled earth. Remember, you can't use the vault breaker over it or the rocks are going to interrupt you.
Wait, where's
Uses the
Aatrox's ult?
flash instead, since it's a blink, and manages to get to safety. But that first turret is going to fall, and it'll be Furia taking it. There is the
beat.
payday on the grubs
Beat.
right there for
Beat.
Toots and Furia.
will be answered by a turret towards the bot lane. I do think, although it looks like Hans instead going to go for the base, which makes sense because Herald is spawning in about 15 seconds. So minions are going to crash here.
First support
TP
sucks or what? I don't think he's
Gigo
playing that bad.
just yet. And Skewmont does get found here.
Yeah, Skewmont
TP
trying to get out of this one. Fury is ready to commit to it.
TP
Coming in. We're going to need to see a seismic shove, but Lebrov and Caps playing protection, stopping this from working out.
Access to ProView? Wait, ProView's back?
Fight if he needs to, but instead goes back to shove out one more wave. Does have the Tiamat now on the Warwick for the extra wave push capability. Charm onto Tatu, followed up by Lebrov. Fury now in full defense mode.
Jungle
G2 doesn't get any kills, but they get
Herald,
significant damage onto 3 separate health bars for control over the Rift Herald.
And that should be the call from Furia to just not contest this, right? The health bar's already battered.
I'm not down much gold.
Gigo has the opportunity to take a turret towards the bottom side of the map, but the value of this Poppy, I think we're only going to see more and more of as this game continues. The ability to turn fights into
2-2-1. Okay.
The Herald goes through is traded.
Little graphic.
So right now, Furia ahead. Once the Herald comes down, I imagine towards the mid lane often used there just to ensure that you get as much map control as possible.
Yeah, nicely done by Gigo to take that turret down there in bottom lane. And Chronicler, we now have a battle for the boots. Feats of Warfare were claimed by G2. The first turret was claimed by Furia. Both teams now sitting on two objectives. If Skewmond gets caught here, exhausted,
there we go.
Committed on that one. They're going to put the quickness into it as well.
Okay.
Skewmond,
who the hell is Skewmond?
And it'll be Gigo taking the 3rd kill of the game for Furia. All 3 kills on this top lane Aatrox. This is the man. This is the raid boss for the Brazilian team.
Top gap, come on!
For G2,
Gugio,
extremely
Guo,
short range. That is the type of situations where, as an Aatrox,
Gugo,
if you are fed, if your team buys enough space for you, can really pop off. The downside for Fury,
they downgraded jungle and support.
Right now
budget cuts or what?
Also, they did invest a decent amount of cooldowns, but they should be available in about 50 seconds when that dragon spawns. Looking at the Cloud Drake, obviously. Big fan, the movement speed always very valuable. Looking at some of the ultimates, there's some characters where like,
a lot of numbers.
Talia, Warwick, your captain plays, but on Aatrox now, on Ahri, or on Akaisa, and Rakan obviously is another one. Even the Nila, it kind of goes hard.
And I mean, even if we're not considering the ultimate boost, just the basic movement speed boost that you get from the Soul is always... movement speed and range are the 2 strongest stats in League of Legends,
just walk.
Like, yeah,
just
he's
walk. Right.
Faster than the guy can dash, you don't have a problem. As Gigo...
Should be fine here if Rakan can make it. Oh, they're TPing as well. Let's get Flash.
And Skewmon ready to join up for this
He's
one.
fine.
But the early
Fun is everything, right?
to get himself out of the range of danger guarantees that G2's collapse will
are we fighting Dragon, guys?
They're still overloaded this bottom lane. They're still looking to force down the tier 1 turret, and they should be able to get away with it, but now Furia pushing the tier 1 over in mid at the same time.
Hey, they have a human ward.
Cut off. Tag with the wind becomes lightning.
Kaisa can ult off this.
Ayu, but Toots is going to be your target as Hans Sama looks for
not bad.
Apotheosis from Ayu. A lot of damage back into Skewmon.
Ayu's
coming in. Ayu's got
Warwick is into it as well. He did the Warwick thing. Bro, Warwick players. Oh my god, wait, that's way too far. Okay, they get caps. Blow up, baby!
Caught out. Shot down.
Triple kill, Brazil! No shot, actually, right?
Just jump into her like that.
That was pretty clean.
It's a delayed engage. It's kind of staggered from G2 as Ayu might straight up die.
Yeah,
Ayu should be fine.
Okay, he's good. He had the minion.
Fine.
The minion. It was calculated.
Oh my God,
he's good.
Mode game on point
I don't know.
as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
G2
G2
at
looks
the same time, Furia has now
goofy.
earned themselves control.
Again, I haven't watched G2 since last year, so I'm just saying.
One turret mid lane, 1 minion auto attack will kill that later on. The dragon is going to go
that's
over
a
to
rough
top
one.
2.
Oh wait, Han's dead too?
That spot here has enough distance to escape the infernal chains.
Nice by Rakan to hold his W there. Dead as well.
Sama's exit. Furia 7-3, 2,000 gold ahead.
And G2, these traps
They've looked
from
goofy
Furia, they
all
keep
year.
falling for it as we take another look here. The big thing, again, with Nila is that if you don't 100 to 0 her, it's so hard to actually get value. And instead, it looks like they're going on Toots, but this is a Talia, right? Actually getting on top of her is kind of hard. And they just
watch her, like, BROKENBLADE jump in 1 versus 5.
I think by the amount of people
Does he know that he can use it as an escape?
Even comes in from
yeah! Let's go, baby! That's what I like to see!
Oh, Lebrov.
But they're inting. Wait, they're actually just inting. Wait, can I change my vote?
And on the previous kills, even the solo kills, I don't think those were necessarily...
Bro, how do I not watch it so long and EU is still just complete dog shit? I don't get it.
The Drake went over, right? Mid lane turret has fallen for G2. They are rapidly losing control of this game.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
If you start to see an Otacon setup here, that is a possibility for G2 to find an angle back. I've seen so many teams not respect the fact that Otacon turns everyone on your team into a paperback. So I do hope that Fury is careful that the B1 to Leo,
careful of
is
Adi.
the biggest pick off as all.
Nice, got Caps ult right before Adi. Good.
The charm from Caps guarantee that IU does not get caught out. Caps did spin the Spirit Rush on that. We'll see if Furia can find a chance to use that window to punish, but G2 is instead going to give them a
Jojo Pion went to EU and won the LEC. Wait, did he? Jojo? Evil Geniuses, C9 Jojo? The guy that got kicked for being late to meetings?
Be able to get that Toots will guarantee it here, but we're getting to the point of the game, Chronicler, where now I think it will be the real test for Furia.
Damn!
I do want to give them credit. I do want to commend them for what has been a very impressive first 20 minutes of the game, building this nearly 3,000 gold lead, taking the feeds, taking the lead in terms of objectives.
You shouldn't stop them? Damn. Bro, I am telling you guys, this is what I'm saying. Everybody always goes in boot camps in Korea. Everybody goes in boot camps in EU. Why? There's a reason nobody comes in boot camps on an A, because they're scared of being exposed.
It's a pretty interesting conversation because
the narrative that NA solo queue is bad will shift. Because no, yes, NA solo queue is so bad that it makes it hard to climb. Trust me. You evolve as a player.
But when it comes to, again, a full short-range comp on the enemy team, as those wards actually paying off as BROKENBLADE.
Here we go again.
Flash, nice.
Chains hit, and that forces out
the
ult
down.
So BB's going to live on this one, but that's all he'll do. Now that Warwick, much less effective.
And there's no ultimate on the Aatrox. Labrov has a little bit of vision, so is checking. The Poppy
Because the night so useful of Wind Traders thought it'd be goated. Wind Traders shared account, C in gap.
But at any moment's notice, you can suddenly be 2 members down.
Fine. Okay, BROKENBLADE getting cornball.
BROKENBLADE,
no
defensive
ult.
ulti over the wall, gets himself
They're
away to
giving
safety,
Otacon.
but now he's not ready to join up here in this fight.
They have
Caps
to
is up in the top lane, looking to take down that turret instead.
Oh, Poppy's going to try and ult out, and Avi's going to try and go for the steal.
Down here. IU's the one tanking up that Otacon, though, and you got to be
careful.
Here it
is.
IU gets debuffed, you're going to have
there it is.
LeBron
oh, he just flashed it.
But he doesn't find anything. Tatu jumping right back in as immediately the quickness back on LeBron.
Finish Otacon. Finish Adi. Nice. That was good. Even if that wouldn't have hit, it was nice just to flash.
Black and white screen as Otacon is claimed by Furia. Gigo even now right back up into the top side. Caps wanted to get the tier 2 turret, and yes, he will, but can he get away at the same time? A flash for a flash.
Yeah, this Googie guy is... Giga Chat is shit, by the way.
Will find some global gold for his team, but the Otacon goes to Furia.
And BROKENBLADE didn't have ult. The Poppy ult was too obvious. I think he got 1 flash, but it didn't get any of the members, which really is what you're looking for. And then your only member with a substantial gold lead, who also had his death cap finished, wasn't even there.
All right, we played for the 3rd dragon here, boys. We can do this. We can win. Come on.
Yeah. Obviously, you can have Caps TP in, but the moment that the Poppy ult doesn't hit, that's just kind of it. There isn't really a way that you can fight with
We
the
got
lead
this, guys.
that you have available right now. And these leads are just being stacked upon each other. There is still, for G2, when it comes to the item finishes, not too much of a deficit. But this Drake fight, this might be a breaking point. If Soul Point is picked up, could be really big, because I think having Soul Point means that your macro decisions down like it's so much easier, because at any point, you just give up a dragon or 2 and make a play towards
so they're just going to give this as well.
Towards the Baron. But I talk about simplifying decision making. I feel like Furia don't need the simplification, because thus far,
that so 3rd dragon's also a gift. Okay, well, they're not going to get Baron, so this game will go to Soul.
Furia, and now moving on to Soul Point. This just shows how critical it was earlier that G2 did manage to secure that 2nd Drake for themselves.
Only 1.5k gold down.
Cloud Soul for Furia.
And I got this top tower.
All of a sudden, if
Did I have a
G2,
bounty?
You're saying, all right, let's look ahead to the 2nd game.
No,
right?
no, that's yeah. I'm looking at the champions of Furia. That's not. That's not okay.
Right.
So that might happen in 5 minutes.
That's exactly what I
Well,
was
it's gonna
thinking.
do nothing.
Now G2, they're on the back foot. They've got to be ready for this. The gold lead is still not going to suffocate them, but they haven't seemed super coordinated so far. It seemed like not everybody's quite on the same page.
That's the biggest thing. The sync up and the buy-in on Furia is...
I mean, Kaiser's up a lot of CS and capses as well.
Is just always ready to throw down with everyone.
I swear to God, kills don't matter.
G2, we've seen some staggered engages. We've seen some missed timings, I think, in particular, looking at that top side play from BB, right? And then Skewmon coming in, timing not quite there. Looking at the mid lane play where they're trying to find what looks like a punish, end up falling for the trap instead. And now the Baron is up. The one thing that G2 outside
they're not doing Baron anytime soon.
To take out any member.
Well, G2 gets desperate, which there's no way.
Going to be one of their biggest abilities, and I think we're starting to see them set up for that as well. Is trying to just find a side lane catch. Their single
which they are getting
CC
vision
and damage, absolutely outrageous, but there is a defensive ward there. Oh.
This could be a huge...
He's fine.
This is the most fed member of Furia, and
he's fine.
Is now getting caught
He's fine.
out. If Gigo
He's fine.
before the fight starts,
fine.
G2 might have just found the pick to turn the
God,
game.
He had a bounty too.
Okay,
they melted him.
One for one.
Neil ghosted.
But he's isolated.
Oh God.
Over on the other side of the fight. He's all alone. He has to flash.
Okay, nice. He's in. He's flash as well. Warwick still has ult, no flash. No flash. Has ult, no flash.
Toots flashes over the wall, and BB tries to bite back.
Wait, does he not have ult?
Dog's been declawed, and
He doesn't have ult. That's Baron and game. Bro, EU... Wait.
Furia found G2.
That's Nash. Straight up and...
Okay, this is a stomp, by the way.
Side lane pick.
Oh, he missed his ult?
Takes so much longer than I think they bargained for, and it's again the response from Furia. The immediate rest of the teammate.
I'll watch it on replay.
In a moment's notice. And even though the Aatrox goes down, it doesn't matter. They don't actually...
Baron power play, sponsored by Red Bull.
That Neil, and then on the other end of the fight, obviously, G2.
All right, let's see this.
Having blown everything,
so Warwick
trying to kill this Aatrox, that was he is 6 levels up on the
TPs,
right? Like actually taking him down with the heal that comes through from the Aatrox.
He TPs, right?
His ultimate, it just
what a late TP from him. Not a good game from him.
His Talia value has just been kind of insane to me.
Okay.
The amount of picks that
Gets
we've
the
seen.
fear. Oh my God! Oh my God! Yo! BROKENBLADE, yo! Brother, this is terrible. Nila actually flashed over and killed 2 because of that. That is really bad. He lives. Oh, and he got the stun from Minefield.
And Furia is furious in the face of G2 Esports. The inhibitor turret in mid lane broken as the inhibitor is about to follow. Gigo is back in the base.
BROKENBLADE was tilted after this game. Oh, I saw that, Luju. Are they going for end?
It's a 5-man push with a Baron against 3 G2 defenders. Furia
has
made their way onto the Nexus turrets.
They're getting forced ended at 28 minutes. 15-4.
Caps has to flash away from the apotheosis just to survive, but the rest
Yo.
of the 2 cannot do the same. Furia win the first game.
Holy.
2025.
Yeah! Nice haircut.
And the crowd goes wild.
Understandably.
As they should, Captain.
Oof.
Because if you come in from the future like, oh, they take a game. You could see
that's
it.
my Brazil, baby.
Into Fearless.
What a curb stomp by Brazil. Can we like actually speak about this? Brother, watch Warwick here. I'm sorry, dude. If I see this in solo queue, what am I saying? Dude, no. Dude, no. Like, dude, what? It was that's a basic combo. He's feared into that. And then his jungler gets one shot because of it. But, I mean, it was already a losing fight, but regardless, that's crazy. What do you think Hansama... Okay, so we see it from like in like overview. What do you think Hansama is thinking here? like right here, as Broken Blade flies by. It's pretty bad, man. Because he also had all that, he got up all those times early. I'm ulting. It is what it is, it happens. I wish it didn't happen, I'd love it. I think I need to queue up, guys, I'm not gonna lie. EU's, it's like a 3-0 BR, I'm wasting my time. I could literally be like 300 LP right now. I'm wasting my time, guys. Like, as we all predicted, EU's getting shit stopped. It's a waste of time.
Look at this play.
Yeah.
You feel like G2 is going to be able to make the best of it.
No,
you have
Silpha.
the whole team running at them and just making the best out of this one.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is they seem so comfortable.
Caps looks older than you, Jesus. I don't look old.
See IU coming in off the pack, then flashing over the wall to join the rest of his team.
Yeah, that's what happened. He flashed over the wall.
Way they played with this composition to set up fights.
Jesus Christ. Imagine looking, dude, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking of everything. Imagine in a game screen, you go to damage charts, your top laner begged you to pick his patented counter pick Warwick, and you see this as he gets solo killed 3 times and ults like that last team fight. Brother, I am, dude, like, I couldn't ever play pro, bro. I'd be too toxic. I mean, dude, they second picked Aatrox.
And the play
It
gets
is what it is. I'm not trying to be toxic, but your top laner picked Warwick got solo killed.
When
Twice.
the LTA North and South teams had the head-to-head for conference play, one thing that we saw from a lot of the LTA
Okay, so
South teams
I don't know what Broken Blade's meta top laner is.
Wouldn't be able to convert those
I really don't know this top
but
meta.
that was not the case here in game number 1. Furia was playing as a unit. They were punishing G2 when they tried to make any sort of a move.
What's up, Pat?
And they honestly ended that game very swiftly and effectively.
Now, I have had my fair share of best of fives where game one looks like a blowout, but remember...
Okay, those were played before when I stopped watching.
Swiftly followed us up with recalibration into a swift freeze. We saw this at the first and finals, right? Remember, back then, K-Corp able to get a very, very big win in that game number 1, and then Home Life tightened it up. Was able to pull the series back. 4G2, I do think we need to see that in this game number 2. I think that the downside of being such a heavy favorite in the fan sentiment, many people, me included, were
he's the coach, the master entire Zip. He said he'd be him. He'd like to be in one of those events. Yeah, for sure. This one's only for pros, though, Cloudy.
Of what it would be if this turns out to be a 1-to-1. You know, you pull back and everything.
We're actually in communication with Cap. Oh, never mind.
Second draft here, as it's Jace, Misfortune, and Yasuo.
Never mind. I forgot. I'm co-streaming.
Blue side, they've elected to go swap sides.
We're co-streaming League of Legends, guys.
On the other side, Twisted Fate, Azir, and Pantheon banned out by Furia. So one thing that's worth pointing out, Varus and Misfortune were both banned out by G2 in round 1 of the previous draft. This time around, since G2's on blue side and they have that.
All right, we'll
keep the Misfortune banned, but they'll take the Varus for themselves. Furia, in response, they're going to grab the Rise for one of their solo lanes. Can be a flex for either one. And Wukong in the jungle. This is a champion that immobile carries do not like to deal with.
I like the Rise.
The Yasuo ban, that one should be a no-brainer, right? Given IU's performance of the champion, the Wukong also would have paired really well with that.
G2 looking beefy.
I'm a little worried about the Maokai. I think that Maokai is a pick that still, especially as you get deeper into Fearless, does have a decent amount of power. I'm worried about it being picked up this early, because I do think that Wukong still gets a ton
if
of
these guys lose today, are they out?
And the Alistar comes through pretty early on here. We'll be able to secure that this time around. And the Poppy didn't have the impact that we were looking for, right? I think we only had a couple of ultimates, and they were mostly used just for CC, so you get the knockup, but you don't actually create a numbers advantage. And
oh wait, it's Fearless?
You need to find at least a couple of those to really make sure you get the value out of the pick.
And we do see the Ezreal locked in here for Furia. I like this pick a lot against Maokai because of the fact that if he uses Twisted Advance at the wrong moment, you can
I forgot about that.
Take him into a very bad position.
Oh yeah.
Turn
you
his
can't pick the same champs twice?
A single button press. As we're into the second half
Damn,
of the bans,
that's exciting.
Tristana banned out by Furia with the Karma removed.
That changes everything every
game
game then.
Ezreal Karma
Bans
obviously
and
picks. That
picks.
goes way back. Alistar, his biggest weakness is his laning phase. Obviously his level 1 is often talked about, but I think outside of that, you're really not expecting too much out of him. when it comes to just trying the leverage. So it does also mean.
You
that
living
I
under
think
a rock,
the
bro?
variance
Yes,
on
I don't have.
what makes it
Guys,
so
I
strong.
am
If you pair
busy
it
with
another
life.
the laning
Do
phase,
you guys
the
think in my
2v2,
free time I'm
so
actually like
oppressive.
watching
It's
professional
not gonna be
league?
the case
Guys,
here.
I am
The
so
way
busy.
does get taken off the board, something that outranges the Rise and is generally able to punish it quite well. As I like the Rumble ban, I do think Rumble, especially after the performance Gigo had, plus the fact that there's a Wukong in the game, definitely a good call.
Yeah, and also looking at how this one's going to go, I still need to see some more follow-up engage from the side of Fury. I like the Rel and Wukong together. I think that this is a great amount of engage for these fights for Fury to still call their shots and make their plays where they want them.
Rel's broken.
I'm
not sure how I like Israel Rel.
Alistar, right? The reason why we saw Alistar really rise to prominence again is because he is really good into Rel. You get to
knock her back, knock Rel back.
Interrupt a lot of that. There's also angles for you to get rid of the Wukong, keep your backline safe. As the Jax does come out, Gragas is still open. There's an immobile carry on the enemy team as the Corki comes through now. I think in theory the Corki makes sense, right? We've seen this pick be really good when he gets to actually have an oppressive laning phase, when he really gets to punish. But I do think the pick right now hasn't really been that convincing recently, as the Cassante comes through here for Gigo.
And there's also no...
Boring! Take me back to the last draft, bro. This is the shit I didn't miss. This is gonna be 0-0-0 at 30 minutes. But it's fine though, because wait, next game, okay, so you're telling me next game all of these 10 champions cannot be picked again.
For Gigo, a character that loves
or could
just say, sure,
G2 pick one of these champs that they picked?
I feel like.
Is it once a series the champ can be picked, or is it
back when I think he was both
G2 can pick their champs, or it's gone? So if a series goes 5 games, there's 50 different champs?
The draft wasn't really the issue. Like obviously, I think playing a dive comp like that into a Nila can always feel a little rough, but that's not really what the game boiled down to. It was just
wait, that's actually hype. Wait, that's actually hype though. Wait, that's actually hype. Holy shit! No more of like boring ass Azir Corki, Trist Corki meta that I watched last year? Holy wait a minute, that's awesome. So there's gonna be some fruity picks.
I mean, I don't have to tell you
and
about
bands count too?
No, I'm very, very American when it comes to the my love for the NA versus EU rivalry. But we do also have to look at the G2 bottom.
Yeah, win a game 5 then.
About G2 needing to win this game, because when we go back and look at the laning phase, or just like the very early mid-game of game number 1, it was Hans and Labrov who had that individual advantage in their own lane, right? It was like almost a 4-wave lead over IU. That's really impressive.
That's really nice.
What they were able to build just in what was most
look, by the way.
They can manage win condition, that might be the key.
I'm also willing to bet that BROKENBLADE isn't
Bro, look what I
this time around. Did take
just saw
last game, which introduced an additional level of volatility. But for me, the biggest
the broken LoL esports loved it. BROKENBLADE picked Warwick. The BROKENBLADE special. Should I read the comments?
You know, often we talk about like mid jungle support. But I feel like all of the members just felt like they were on very different pages.
Dude, look, first comment.
Not gonna be able to get
first comment.
Delay on stage here for some kind of technical issue. Hopefully they'll be able to get that one resolved here as soon as possible. Talking about, BROKENBLADE there in the top lane. It's the nature of the champion. The only way Warwick is good is you have to play on the edge. To bait opponents in, use that low life bar to really give yourself an opportunity you wouldn't otherwise have.
That shit was
so now that you're playing Jax, it's a much more standard type of character, and you don't have to really skirt the edges too much.
You really don't. Jax will always get good value. It's just a very versatile character.
That intern who tweeted that's probably like, damn, my bad.
After all the changes that we've had to Cassante, he actually has a very solid matchup early on, right? I think Cassante, in mind of many, is still that tank that's okay in lane, but really is about afterwards. I do think you can get way more done. That is some wonderful cosplay there.
That's some powerful cosplay, ears and hair there. I like that. I respect that. But yeah, Cassante...
Guys, start the game.
I think for a lot of people, the number one thing that comes to mind when you think Cassante is still the showmaker pasta.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, this is a character that if he gets out of control is truly all out of control. And that's what we've seen Gigo do in game number 1. And
all right, here we go.
If he can repeat that success here in
I think this is a complete snoozer, I'm not gonna lie.
We're on to the rift now. Furia this time from the red side. G2.
I think this one's
over on
pretty
blue.
standard,
Taking
boring
a look
draft.
At Keystone, summoner spells, all the normal stuff.
Need to wait for
Grass
game 3
for
to
both
4.
of our top laners for the early trading power. Sometimes you'll see
Watching
Jax go
both
for
series
something, you know,
today,
more like the
hell
Conqueror
no.
if he thinks that the laning phase
Hell
is just going to
no.
be free. But again, going up against a Cassante.
I'm really not interested in watching play-ins, to be honest.
Jojo, once again, going to be running Summoner Spellbook here in the support role.
This time, we
Watching this series is whatever because I have something to hate watch.
Warranted. There's not a lot of auto-attacking that you will be able to get to do.
Not against Wukong Rel.
Yeah,
no.
or Ryze, or Cassante.
Pretty
really.
much any of these characters.
Yeah, I think trying to stay away is the right call.
Yep.
And it also makes sense given his lane partner. I think the lethality Varus is just way more...
I'm gonna watch you both. Can you mute the casters? Okay.
Self-sufficient, right? He can just stay in lane. He can just wave clear.
There you go, bro. I got you.
And there are lane partners where Varus can be a real bully. I think in this case, you just pick him to try, and he will still have a decent amount of laning power, but it's not really what it's about.
I gotta tell this game's gonna piss me off. Yeah, die!
And they go again, but this time, Hans will be fine. Top laning is down, and I also taking a big hit there early on.
Yeah, both.
Yeah, show top lane, bro. I will, dude. This is so much better than cringe lane swaps.
100% hit rate.
Holy shit!
About an extra
They saved top lane.
of damage there. Feels good for Hans Sama and
Yeah.
LeBron.
Unfortunately, Alistar isn't the champion.
No, he's. I mean, he interrupted the crash down there, so that's. I mean,
Top, show top, show top, show top, show top!
Yeah, he doesn't really offer a lot, as we can see, which is why the level 2 was there by Ayu and Jojo.
If you guys are gonna be CSing, show top lane.
Eventually,
They're
right,
battling it out like
to the
min.
point where he just gets to clear waves in seconds, but doesn't have his skills nor the AP available for now.
Yeah, as Furia gets the wave crashed up down here in the bottom lane. It is interesting because there's some history between Furia coach ThinkCard and G2. The last time a team coached by him was against
ThinkCard on an A?
Was the
that's what it's saying.
Energy versus G2 best of 3 from Worlds a couple years ago, which was just a huge moment for NA fans everywhere.
Holding that perfect wave state.
Coaching a team in
he fake warded
South, trying to do it again here, not just in a best of 3, but in a best of 5. That much harder, and we'll see if he can
Jack's
accomplish
fake warded,
that same
but
magic
it's not really a fake ward, so everybody knows he's not going to ward. Oh, then he warded that bush anyway.
With, genius midfield.
Yeah, nice grass proc.
Yes.
Show grass stacks.
His opponents bet him in a scrimmage. He's very
Uh-oh.
Thus far, though, again, my expectation for G2 is that they are going to really pull back on a lot of the risks that they took in game number 1, and instead are going to rely on their macro sense,
Show top.
the pick fights later on in the game. And I do think that that should also mean that this early laning phase is not going to be nearly as interesting. Wukong just desperately wants to farm till 6
have prio
because
anywhere.
the wave bounce came through on bot. Labrov already gets to roam up. It looks like they're
Okay,
still
nice little
going
trade
to
here.
go
It's
for
good.
contest there, and Jojo.
Why did Ezreal play it like a bitch? You had Wukong coming.
As
Oh, if he would have hit that third in Tofo strike with that shockwave, could have been a bit of a problem there.
Yeah.
How much CS he's up?
Okay.
No, this Googie guy's a
Nothing
beast.
Too crazy then. Let's take a look at where our junglers are. As you
Nice
can see,
little angle
Tatsu
here.
Invading enemy jungle
Flash W?
on the potential opportunity for a chance to go after Caps, but
Yeah,
Caps
I mean,
playing.
Oh, jungle diff.
Oh, Skewmon.
Oh,
Looking
Skewmon
good.
might just be able to turn this one around. Gigo in some trouble this time around. Top lane's not looking the same as game
Jungle
1.
diff.
And
Yes, it
it's
was.
First blood
Jungle
of the
diff.
Broken Blade.
Good bait set up by BROKENBLADE there. Able to flash away out of the W. Still gets his stun off on the back end as well. And then Skewmon shows up just in time. And meanwhile, not a fan of this mid lane gank. Tatsu, you are
I agree.
86
I agree.
Wukong. You just unfortunately don't do that much. A Corki, one of the reasons why he can't play so aggressive is because of the build-in safety that he has with Valkyrie. Caps didn't even need to flash. Hans and Labrov did
These
use
guys
their
not
stun,
warding
so
this bush is
I
giving him
imagine
a
we
headache.
missed a scuffle in the bot lane. So yeah, that's how we got to play Corki. Just got to jump right on top of him. But no cleanse, no heal does mean that at level 6...
No, I'm rooting for Brazil.
Introduce
You.
who can get towards the bot side of the map.
Yeah, the difference in this game in game number 1 is, yes, we still have the first blood happening up there in the top side, but remember that in game number 1, G2 got a kill back immediately in bottom lane right after. This time around, there was no such counterplay again, like you're saying, because the gank wasn't towards bottom. It's not like they were able to find anything effective in mid, so Furia now
That's fine. Corki's roaming. It should be pinged. We know this.
Obviously not hurting a whole lot. You can
have no idea where Maokai is. Our mid lane's getting gapped, so he can't ward.
Crash into the turret of BROKENBLADE.
Nice dodge.
Not hurting as much as could otherwise
Show
be
top lane.
from that death up there in
Show
the
top lane. I'm done asking.
Maokai off to a good start here. You can see does have the red smite, does have the faded ashes in inventory, so we will get the Leandri's Maokai build.
That's an 11 CS lead.
AP
This is
damage for this AD heavy team as BROKENBLADE jumps.
Oh, he
in
held
for
it
a
nicely.
fast trade there.
Here we go.
For the stun.
It's nice for.
He
Oh, we got
gets to do it
6.
there with the Pathmaker, but BROKENBLADE hit
Fine.
level 6
Free ult.
just in
Fuck it.
time.
Free ult.
Forces
Wave slow
Gigo
pushing towards him.
back. BB
He'll get
doesn't
6
get
here
as much
soon as
damage
well.
that ult
Very
ever
good
would.
wave save. I don't know how he
And
plays.
Gigo now with a mana advantage.
He has to
hits level
get
6
fruit
in
from
a
river.
decently
Actually,
soon
that's
time
it.
From himself should get it after a couple more minions.
Still no ultimate available here for Tatu. It's close, but this is 3 people in the lane. Scumon's also there.
Yeah, this is going to be a 3v3, and immediately Lebrov gets targeted. Exhaust down to Han Sama as Scumon finds the counter engage onto Tatu, who has to flash out of the
Nice
Wukong.
pathing, or
Scumon
block fucked
getting
him there.
the better of Tatu in the jungle matchup this game.
Show top. 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 Show top.
And it's again these.
Here we go.
There it is. There's no ult for BROKENBLADE.
Oh, he dashed out. Nice spacing. Oh, but he went the wrong way.
Through the counter strike. BROKENBLADE.
Ah!
Gigo tries to flash forward for the Intofo strike. Toots is coming up to try
Rise
to
ult. Nice.
BROKENBLADE's escape route. Realm Warp gets him in range. Toots is there. He binds.
There we go, baby. There we go.
And Toots evens up the score.
There we go.
See if the cancel can be found on this Cassante. Not going to be the case. No punish available. As I imagine, Toots just going to run towards top, catch that wave, swap for now. In this game, still a precarious balance as maybe we get another one of those feats fight, right? Last time went all the way to the final
for
one.
the boots. It's one of my
And at the
favorite
wave
things.
crash, another
Everybody
lane
really
swapping,
wants
but
the
Furry
Like
over
3
here
minions lost
predicted
there.
it, so he's going back
Well,
bot
Varus
side.
obviously does have a good amount of
Huge.
range, so see how much Hans is able to pick up. It's
Got
not
that
too
one.
bad.
Yeah, okay.
it's
So
fine.
only like 2 minions. It's fine. Ayu and Jojo rotated over to the mid lane.
He's
now.
actually
Lebrov is just
good.
going to
He
be the
doesn't
support for
seem
his
bad
own
at
age
all.
here for
He
the time
doesn't
being.
know.
Both of our top laners now set up in that bottom side of the map. You can see Caps currently leading in terms of XP globally.
I just don't know
among
what
everybody here,
BROKENBLADE's
but it
skill
both
level is.
mid laners significantly
My
far
knowledge on
ahead of
BROKENBLADE is his
everyone
time
else
from
as
TSM
Tatu
and
finally
when he
level
played on the
6
NA
now
servers.
the
That's
Wukong.
it.
We'll see how much of a difference that makes, how much more he can get done, as now once more it's BROKENBLADE.
Nice spacing, man.
But Gigo doing a good job getting himself away.
Gigo
from it,
guys played this
outplaying
shit
the
before.
opportunity from BROKENBLADE there, and BROKENBLADE just using this ulti on cooldown.
It's a little bit lazy of him to push that wave, I feel like, though. Maybe he wants Dragon.
Right? I think that was an attempt at trying to force a flash out of, because I don't think there was really a kill opportunity there.
Top tier in
There is on
LEC.
the cross map though, good amount of pressure, but oh, Tatu, instead of going for Dragon, it looks like he's trying to go for the counter punch. There is, I think,
You have to get his
Counter-Strike
E.
available.
You have to get his E.
So
This
we'll
is
see
rough.
if he
This
cannot
is
play
not.
this.
Yeah, this is,
Oh, that was
pretty
so smart. He
dangerous. Jack
faked
very effective
Q'd
at defending against
to
these
try and
types
get
of
his E.
situations. Gigo is about to die to the turret. He barely gets away. Tatu needs a little bit more distance to close into BROKENBLADE, and he finds it.
Stop!
Finally there with
Come here,
that
bitch.
last Q. So Furia gets
Stop
the man.
with this
Barely
staff.
survives. That's a 2-1.
Night, night,
game.
pussy.
Furia
Put him to
is
sleep.
the
He's down
cause
30
of
CS.
G2 Esports claiming all 3 grubs on the other side of the map. Now
Uh-oh.
Scumon firing off the ulti, wants to catch Gigo with it. Pathmaker to try to buffer through the CC. Cassante's tanky, but he's only got 50
Plus one
health.
grass proc.
And Scumon brings him down to tie this game up at 2-2.
Feels
Who
like
cares?
Gigo could have maybe left after they got the kill.
Yep, perhaps.
I mean, he's up 30 CS, bro. Who
Just a
gives a
little.
shit?
They did get the, obviously they knew that the grubs were being taken, so maybe underestimating the speed with which Scumon could get towards the bot side. We also saw what was maybe a little bit, I thought they maybe were going to look for a top side play the moment they saw Scumon in bot, but doesn't look like there really was a window. And G2,
I was gonna say
Goldblade
maybe
remains
League nowadays
basically
is like the
non-existent here for
NBA,
either team.
where the skill
Dragon
discrepancy
is
and the
advantage
gap has
for
closed,
Furia,
and
but
all
G2 is
teams,
sitting
all
on
top
3
teams
grubs,
are
and
about
obviously get picked
equal.
up.
So you have a
Tatu
new
getting
team
my
winning
favorite
every
experience
single year.
As a jungler, your laner is just not quite in range
That's
there to
coping.
catch the wave. So unfortunately, you have to do the job yourself. A little bit of extra econ.
Especially as Wukong.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
the kill going to Wukong, I think, is also actually a big deal. We see that still Gigo is in a great position when it comes to gold advantage. thanks to the CSing and the plates. So he did, you know, he did get the plate. So I guess that.
Brother, we have T1 CS numbers on Broken Blade here, by the way. Just saying.
Is going to come over here.
Actually,
is plus 120
5 CS a minute.
worth more than plus 300 on the enemy Maokai?
That is rough.
Yeah, I'd say so.
That's the question, right?
Yeah, no, I really think so, especially given the fact that Hans, who
Bro, I wish
for, on-hit build,
everybody was forced to stream their POV to their own Twitch audiences while playing.
Once you reach like 4 or 5 items, you do actually have a deceptive amount, even against.
Can you imagine BB's chat right now?
Right? And you still need
4
to
CS a minute, Keck W.
Sure in that time you don't get
-1 cannon. Like me playing Twitch Rivals. Jesus, that was terrible.
Well, we've got the first 2 fully completed items for both sides coming online now. As you can see, the Rod of Ages has been completed for Toots' Rise. Going to start stacking that one now, so it'll be done right around the 21-minute mark there with those stacks. Meanwhile, on the other side, it's Skewmon, who's been a part of both kills so far. It's Skewmon who's getting his first item fully completed with that Leandries. Now I'm expecting him to go more towards tank. Just rely on everybody else on the team. I think between Corki, Varus, and Jax, you have plenty of damage.
This is also, right there, is one of the big advantages that Varus has, right? Particularly with lethality. You can always play pretty far up, because they need to respect, because you are still strong in the all-in, and they don't really know where the members are.
Do you think Riot knew you were going to directly harass one player for an hour straight when they asked you to co-stream?
But meanwhile, the Bramble Smash from Skewmon's going to do the same job anyway. Feat of Warfare claimed for the 2nd game in a row.
Not harassing.
I'm just it was a 3-2 count on the kills, and now IU is stranded in a 1 versus 3.
Rough.
You're against an
that TP's a bit late, isn't it? Other not sending it. It's really bad. Because now Ryze's a TP bot. Oh, but he doesn't have TP. That's really bad.
But that just opens the door wide here in the bottom lane for Broken Blade to catch up in gold through some plates.
Yeah, big win there for G2, even though you can't kill the Ezreal. The fact that Broken Blade with the Demolish gets to just spend some time alone in that lane due to the roam from the Rise. It's not like he is going to be able to get much more than that. Does need to respect, as we do see 2 level lead, by the way. And that's with Rod of Ages not even close to fully stacked.
Right. That's scary stuff, man.
Oh, the Wukong looking for Caps here.
Caps needs to have his spidey senses tingle a little bit.
Does it flash?
Detecting this, especially if Tatu can time the Cyclone correctly to interrupt the Valk as Caps tries to get away. It could be absolute disaster for the G2 mid laner here, but it looks like Caps, wise to what might be going on, stepping away for now. Ego stepping forward, going for the 3rd in Tofo strike, not going to hit that one. Caps tries to Valk out, but now immediately.
Oh, Wukong was on the same page, they got him though.
Down to the bottom lane at the same time. Caps is going to be killed off first. Now,
does Toots live?
Broken Blade ready to follow, finds the stomach.
Phase rush! Rise! Oh my god, that's a good flash actually by BB.
With the flash at the last second to guarantee that he hits him with the empowered bonk and takes him out. A 1-for-1 across the rift.
Bro, this guy came to my chat.
This time, not going to go for the Battle of the Boots, just going to claim.
Let's go, GOAT2. Let's go, G2. I'm a big G2 fan, my favorite team. Blah, blah, blah.
They're paying a lot of attention.
Tyler Wells, he's really good. He sees me shit-talking. He says, Tyler 1 is a massive piece of crap.
Also uses flash, but he trades for 2 flashes, and because of the cross map, I don't think he's going to be too.
After I start shit-talking G2.
And I'm liking what we're seeing from G2 more
nice,
this game, not just in the game itself, but in the draft. They're a team that has been known historically for their creativity.
Nice.
They're also a team that can overcook it a little bit sometimes. Maybe leave the draft in the oven a little bit too long. Last time around, we saw them use the Warwick as the counter pick into the Aatrox. It doesn't pay off.
I don't think it's
this
that
time
bad.
Around, you've got Broken Blade on a champion that you know he can pilot very well in the Jax, but it's also not something that's way
definitely
far
not
out
good
of the meta like that Warwick. And since they're playing around it too, I feel like they are setting him up so much better.
I don't think they're playing around it. I think their top lane made a dipshit play, took Asante out of TP top, and that's when Broken Blade got strong.
Gold lead because of the massive farm lead.
As now, towards the bot side of the map, that top lane you were talking about.
They ganked him
even
once.
With the kills, even with the first turbot, as you highlighted. Broken Blade still fine as the TP comes through. There's a lot of people here, though.
Yeah, remember Labrov with the Alistar ultimate.
That was a great rel ult. Holy shit.
Labrov just barely gets away. It's all calculated by G2 with a full 5-man.
Nice dodge.
JoJo
This is all because that their bot lane died under a tower, because Cassante now doesn't have TP. Jax has a TP play window. It's actually a disaster. They lost this game just because of that one play.
It was a bit quizzical when Labrov just went in when the wave was about to crash, but the timing ends up working out. There is enough support from the rest of the team. The damage comes through, and Gigo didn't have TP, so there's no way for him to join. We had the full 5-man rotation, because Hans also, I think, just walked from mid lane towards the top end of the map, and if this Aner falls as well, even if he ends up dying, which I don't think is a given, Jack's obviously quite slippery.
Yeah, he just got that tier 2. Now this game's completely over. Damn, if I was Cassante, I'd be pretty pissed.
That doesn't matter. I think that the trade is 100% worth it, although the Dragon will most likely go over to Furia.
Yeah, it was a lot of money.
Bro.
You are going to get a good amount from the shutdown as well. You will get it onto the Rise.
Oh, never mind. Okay, if you get Dragon as well, it's like... Because the shutdown, that's a bit rough, but if you don't lose Dragon, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, happen to have both Rise and the Rel, who's now low enough HP that he has to reset. Means that G2 has control over this bottom side river.
On his 50 CS up? No, he gapped him. The CS was 90 to 49.
Nobody's working on that early Drake
until that shit top lane happened.
Like G2 still going to be comfortable, enjoying their lead with a 1,000 gold.
Wait, the gold lead was 3K to 1K? Wait, how?
Let's go, guys. Ulti on anyone. That's gonna dip. Okay, go on, Rise, go on, Rise. Good job, good job. No flash. Look at him. Nice.
Cool. Wait, the gold lead's only 400. They got 3 turrets and a
really doing what
bounty?
I think we were all expecting after game 1, pulling it back, only going for plays when the whole team is there, the whole team is ready, and the coordination compared to game number 1 is night and day. Now, I do want to be clear, it's not like Furious composition doesn't scale well. They still have, particularly the Wukong and Ryze in mid to late game team fights are absolute menaces. So we still need to see G2 actually close out on this. The team fight's going to be very interesting because I still think Hans is going to have a tough time. That objective,
I don't know how they get in.
Though, and they're just kind
against
of
Malphite, Alistar,
I don't think they
Jax.
can really catch anyone out here, and G2 going to be very happy with that.
Yeah, G2 Rift Herald for free. You could see that Tatu wanted to contest, but it's one of the strengths of Alistar because you have the powerful displacement.
I actually don't understand.
Even if he wants to walk up, it's not going to happen.
Oh!
Both the Alistar and the Maokai, right? The guaranteed point and click.
Well.
The ultimate as well. As it looks like we're also seeing the full commit to AP. I was kind of expecting the Leandri.
That's a big drink! Jesus!
Me as well.
But looks like that is not
Dude made me thirsty.
to be the case.
Okay, I forget where we're at. Oh, they lost a top lane fight.
Of G2. It is not even a 1,000 gold lead, though, and the Dragons are split 1-1. G2, however, has controlled those top side Baron Pit early objectives with the Grubs and the Herald, and we want to see if they can continue this control of the game now as we're just about to crest 18 minutes on the clock.
Viewers everywhere saved from food talk, and Rez trying to blame other people for his shortcomings.
Yes, which somehow come together in the
BBCS is still dog shit.
That happened. As the setup, as mentioned, for here, I think is going to be mostly centered around can we actually find a good engage angle? Because in a lot of these fights, I do expect G2 to
This guy's way up with no wards. It's a bit crazy, isn't it?
Deep flank. This is a Cassante, though, so you need to be careful about your angles.
Okay.
We also see Skewmont in the area.
Yeah, Skewmont and Labrov hanging around. Gigo is going to
immediately
do a little footwork into the Tri-Brush, Pathmaker right back out.
Rel
Jojo
TP,
coming in to reinforce if he needs to. One big thing I want to point out, Toots just completed his Archangel Staff.
Yeah.
He is 5 spell charges away from turning it into Seraph's Embrace. His Rod of Ages is also at 8 out of 10 stacks. So here in 2 minutes, Toots is just going to have a massive power spike with that Rod of Ages alongside the Seraphs. Ryze will be very powerful. And again, I have to give credit to Hans.
I was just about to say you gotta go. Can't let him poke. Oh, who took that Wukong ult? Maybe it's not that bad.
Tatu's not going to be taken very low. Toots trying to provide a little bit more damage to the Broken Blade as Tatu is in full retreat. Toots wants to deliver his jungler into the enemy lines, but as Tatu is caught out of position, he is forced to retreat.
I think Furia should be happy that that didn't end up going worse. That was a very scattered engage because Hans was able to flash. Jojo didn't quite catch him off guard. Now the flash being down for Hans, that's a big win. That's something, but because of how much else was invested there, at least for now, Furia
the
is
second
gonna
charge
have
as
to
well.
back off. They didn't have to.
I think
use
Rise
time
has to
crunch, which is,
explode in
crazy
these
for how
fights.
That was going to be used. As we're taking a look here, so
It's
Hans
pretty hard
very
though, because
ready.
G2 has
Jojo
easy
doesn't
as
quite
fuck
find the
CC.
combo in him. You can obviously go for like the Q first and then go for the follow-up. Didn't get that, and then Tatu able, thanks to the route there from Tuds, to stay alive despite everything.
Who's he cheering
G2
for
able
Brazil?
to find a counter kill, but I don't really think
But
that
I
they
think
need
it's a
to.
loss.
Again, as long as they get to go for these counter engages, they're going to be happy.
Yeah, they might still find their counter kill here as JoJo's already down to half HP. That rail is not long for this world. BROKENBLADE's already got him. Tatu's dead next. And now, with Gigo teleporting into 5 players in G2 jerseys, Gigo is going straight into the ground. G2 just crushed Furia.
Yeah, Mouse. Up first 5. What can they do?
Not so much. G2 found the front line. Not ready for this many people to be there. And able to both get the kills, get the Otacon as well. And on the counter punch, it's Wolves.
Yeah, Wolves for Otacon, not the ideal handshake coming out from Furia,
and 2
honestly.
kills for G2.
Yeah, this is looking really, really good for G2 at
Please
this point.
do something
They've
about
got
the HUD.
3,000 gold lead.
What
They're
are we gonna do?
23-12 in terms of the flower petals throughout the map. They've got themselves just an absolutely commanding position in this game.
I think there, Lebrov found Tuts because he uses Flash as well as Realm Warp. As did Lebrov, so I imagine that happened off screen while they were setting up for Dragon. That should mean that this next Hextech Drake is basically guaranteed to go to Furia as BROKENBLADE.
Yeah, BROKENBLADE.
I mean,
getting a
there's
little
no.
bit of damage
They
onto
are so
IU there,
tanky.
forcing him to
They don't have
some
any
shift back over
damage.
to safety as G2 just has total control still over this bottom side river,
This
over
game's
this Drake
cooked.
pit. Easy enough for AP Maokai to just burst this thing down fast enough. Not insanely quick, but still not like there's any contest when G2 is finding opportunities
Wait, what did
like
she
this.
do?
And the big thing is that Rel, so much of her tankiness comes from the ability to CC other people. So if you're just caught, there's not really that much you can do. This TP obviously feels really bad. Understandable in the moment, but given that both of your frontliners just die in seconds, it just is a TP to the I think you can see as well from the G2 coach's response, they know, right? That was a really big moment. You get the kill, you get the Otacon. The game isn't in the bag quite yet, but it is looking a lot better, right? Otacon is there, you're sitting at 2-to-1 Drakes, you have map control, and there is so much counter engage available on G2. And if you are aware of where everyone on Furia is,
I mean, they're way too strong
it's
now.
really
But
hard
how
for
is
them.
it only
We could
3,000
go back
gold
to
lead?
this.
Why does it
There
feel
are
like
not a
so
lot of
much
good
more?
targets on G2.
There's Han Sama. That's about it.
Yeah, well,
So-
I mean, if Cap's like in that position, obviously, then maybe, but
It seems so much
even
beefier.
then, like the Maokai, the Counter-Strike, the Alistair, the Lockheed available as well, just makes it so hard to actually get back in the game. And it wouldn't be surprised if G2 also are in comms just going, guys, just keep playing this slow. Like, this game could go on for another 20 minutes like this, and that's fine.
Come on.
It's not a problem. As
no
long as we
reason
keep
not
stacking
to.
Hey,
objectives.
surely games are not
It goes
50
back to
minutes
what you were
long.
talking about at the beginning of the game, right? Like when you're coming into this series, such heavy favorites, and game one is as one-sided as it was, you need a good bounce-back game to make sure that you don't start slipping further and further and further away from a solid mental state. And G2 seem to be bouncing back excellently in this second one.
Really, all you need to avoid with Otacon taken especially, that's one of the big breakpoints that we often see for teams, where they overestimate how quickly they can do it, they end up getting caught.
My gap
It's really
is
just
more like
avoid a
4K.
barrel flip, and anytime soon, there shouldn't really be a big opportunity.
So we're just going to wait
Furia
for Soul and
to
Baron?
regain some control of this game. We see as well, when it comes to the sideways, continuously very far pushed up in favor of G2. Look at Caps towards the top side of the map, has the 2-item spike now hit. Now Tuts is close to 16, did get his Roa fully stacked as well, but just the Rise, I don't know if that's going to be enough. And the fact that they don't have the damage from IU is a big deal. He's very far behind.
Yeah, 1.2 thousand gold.
That's probably my last game I'm watching.
For Hans over IU, the largest individual gold lead in the game.
Until
and again,
it starts,
another piercing arrow,
until after
hit.
play
Every
ends.
time we are seeing Hans fire these, he's hitting targets. He's making it that much harder for Furia to try to full send these engages. We've seen how squishy these guys are when they go in and they don't find their CC, they don't find that perfect engage. And Hans is a big reason why everybody's melting as fast as they are. Furia, it feels like every time we're looking at their players, they're just grabbing a camp here or there. They're trying to to scrounge up whatever scraps are left, and G2 is just choking them out of Summoner's Rift.
I mean,
There's
nothing. This feels like my solo queue game, where at this part G2 is stronger, but there is actually nothing for them to do except small wins, like jungle camps, minions, wait for shit to spawn. That's it.
It's very straightforward. Just keep starting Baron, and every time they come out, poke them off. The only thing you want to avoid at all cost is an actual flip. Is really hard to reliably deny access to Tatu, although if you just put him to like half health this early on,
that'll work. I mean, Jojo goes in, but where's the follow-up? True Shot Barrage doesn't hit. Hans gets found. Gigo's gonna die at the same time. Jojo engages on the enemy AD carry, but there's nobody else next to him. And Furia is just all out of sorts here in this second game. G2 perfectly confident to stay in the position they're in, to continue forcing Furia back out of the jungle. And now,
they got game one.
Top laner down with that Cassante front line no longer a threat. Now G2 start up the Baron and dare Furia to stop them.
Oh, that's a creative angle that we see here from Tatu on the Wukong. It does get spotted though. I don't think he's going to be an opportunity to actually get a steal here.
Our team's not allowed to FF? Nah.
Jojo.
Yeah, Jojo is
out of
there.
They know, yeah, you see the pings coming down. Like, they are aware that he's behind them. He was spotted earlier on.
Ayu gets out.
Wait, Wukong's there. Here we go.
Out is all they're going to get because the rest of G2, they've just got control over the Baron pit. Tatu trying to be a man on a mission, but the only mission now is survive. Tatu will have to use his Cyclone to disengage. Broken Blade keeps on the chase. He's just going to force Tatu back, and Baron goes over to G2 26 minutes in.
And this perfectly sets up for in 15 seconds that Hextech Soul Point imminent for G2.
Cheering for T1. I'll be cheering for T1 and any. Wait.
Maokai to me is one of the
and NA. I almost said any NA team, but just NA.
It's already hard
just
to regain any semblance of control.
In an A
team.
team. Holy shit.
Oh boy. Yeah, that Maokai ulti's not going to give him anywhere to go. Trying to pop the cleanse to get out of it. But Broken Blade is powerful on the Jax in this second game. And Hans Sama's chains barely miss on Jojo, but Labrov ready to follow it up here with the pulverize into the headbutt. That's 2 for G2. And
no Brazil? What the no Brazil, this guy said?
But he has to trade his life to find it. 3 for 1 across the rift, as now it's only Toots and Tatu to try to defend, but they're nowhere near the lane being pushed, Chronicler. The tier 3 turret in bottom is already fallen. The inhibitor is the next target. It's 2 Baroned up cannon minions. It's the Rift Herald power, excuse me, the Void Grub power, making sure that these structures
don't misspeak,
fall that much faster as Tatu and Toots. The best thing they can do is make sure they only lose 1 inhibitor instead of 2.
This is third dragon.
Yeah, it's looking like Elder Flip or bust. That's
I don't
Elder?
There,
I don't think we're getting there.
No way. This game goes on until Elder.
Soul point now here for G2. Hextech Soul is also one of the souls where becoming or trying to play the game truly becomes a nightmare, particularly with the amount of poke that's available. Like every single sapling, every single Corki rocket, and every Varus arrow will slow and damage the entire team.
They play slow games. Yeah. I feel like last game got over at 27 minutes though.
Furia,
like I would argue this game isn't that slow. 14-5, but why does it feel it?
Game number 2. They've controlled pretty much everything, starting off with Scumon's gank in the top lane for the first blood, then the counter gank in bottom to stop any chance of Tatu turning things around there. Toots just having to use the Realm Warp to try to get away to safety, as now Scumon's ready to follow it yet again. Here comes the Nature's Grasp.
Kill them all, kill them all.
To lock up Jojo. The Rel once again beaten down before any effect could truly happen.
Okay.
Scumon tries to get away. G2 backing out, waiting for their cooldown. As Furia continues to look for something, but Labrov is creating space. Hans backing back up again as Ayu gets the shutdown into Labrov, but Gigo is not strong enough to truly threaten the back line.
Jax flank.
Their support, but they take out the enemy top and support at the same time. Toots wants caps. He doesn't find him yet. Toots stuck inside the hourglass, and his time's run out. Tatu trading with Scumon as the AP Maokai finally falls there to the Wukong, but it does not matter.
I mean,
Toots was the only one left standing on Furia. Oh boy,
3 for
I
1.
don't think he's going to keep standing for much longer either.
What the
Broken
fuck?
Blade stopping him from getting away with a Hex Gate, and Broken Blade gets the last
And again,
kill for the
this is
delayed
all
ace,
because
as
of that
JoJo is
one
so
play
far
top
behind
lane
in levels, he has
where
already
bot lane got
respawned
dove, so
earlier.
Cassante had a TP.
Got a bit messy there towards the top end. I think they didn't want to invest Broken Blade's TP because they could have obviously just TP'd him over earlier. And that's the power of investment right there. The amount of money item finishes for G2 means that even though this is a little disjointed and they're down a member for a decent amount of display, it just doesn't really matter, right?
The same Broken Blade that got killed by Pika a few days ago, so I've been told.
And then here it looks like maybe a turn is imminent, but actually taking down a Maokai is so hard, especially with the phase rush. Very, very slippery. And then we see that really, if Gigo had stuck with the rest of the team or find a slightly different angle, maybe there was a bit more of an opportunity, but all of this is effectively 4 versus 5.
Yeah.
Because Broken Blade isn't there.
Good
The
spirits.
vibes, fortunately though, for Furia, clearly not bothered by
Yeah,
any of
good
this.
spirits.
Yeah, they seem to be having a good time. They don't seem particularly distraught, tilted, frustrated.
Bro,
whatever you
do
wanna
not
call
wait
it.
for Soul.
G2 are having a better time, I would have to bet, because they have control over the game. They are 7,000 gold ahead. They are on Soul Point with 2 minutes left on that Hex Tech Dragon Soul. If they want to wait that long to take it, there's also even less than that, just about 1.5 minutes until the Baron spawns. G2 with total control of the Rift.
Tyler, I'd be very careful if I was you, because that was close, mate. Close to what?
Been to so many events
Wait, what are you
before.
saying?
Now in the play-ins, now up against Furia, losing the first game. Game number 2, returning back to more of an acceptable showing, I think, in the hearts of a lot of EU fans.
Oh. Tatu needs to be careful. Gonna be hit there by that sapling.
Uh-oh, Tatu. He's trying to run. He's already used the clone. He's going to walk into the Realm Warp.
Nice.
The Toots called him the cab. Had to make sure that they got out of there.
Isn't he the cab driver?
Well,
All right, Soul's in 1.5 minutes.
Oh yeah, Toots called the cab.
So what is the play?
Okay,
Soul, Baron, in?
Hold up. It didn't quite track. Toots got him out of there. That's
You know
what's
what you
important.
did make
That's what's
think?
important.
No, I
Right,
didn't. I don't know what I
Whether or not
did.
he's a cab driver really isn't.
Yeah, that's not important. But what matters is
Stop calling me
Tatu
mate.
got home safe. That's what matters. He got home, drank his water, he's going to bed.
Don't type it like
I had
that,
a
you
little bit of a
weirdo.
headache in the morning after that Ignite, but
Also after the the Soul Point.
yeah,
The Baron up as well.
it's rough. It's rough.
A little
We've got
bit.
about 10 seconds here on the
Wait up.
Baron. Broken Blade, however, getting caught out a little bit, but
Okay.
he's still not dead.
Not even
Tatu wants
close.
to follow, but he goes straight into the dirt instead. It was all calculated by Broken Blade as G2 now with the enemy jungler dead for 40 seconds.
Are we going to try Baron
It's
first?
nothing but
Nice.
green light
Hopefully,
for
yeah.
Baron.
Yeah, that's a freebie on the Baron. Don't think there's anything that you can do about that as the Broken Blade flank to come through. I think looking to maybe apply side lane pressure, but he calls people or he pulls people over, right? And that's all that really matters. This is again going to perfectly set up the Dragon, basically the same time as before, but this time it will lead to a Soul getting picked up, Hextech Soul. If the previous fights weren't really an indication,
Awesome.
G2 is very committed to playing this one out by the book. They are not taking any risks. They're not taking any gambles. They are going to very slowly and very steadily just get away. And I think that's understandable, right? Given how game 1 plays out. If you somehow lose this game, you're gonna mental poop, right? Like that is, that's not something that I
It's
think
not
can generally
losable,
come back
come
from.
on.
JoJo, I think unfortunately is still alive for a little bit.
I don't think that little bit.
I mean, actually, he's buying a lot of time.
However, as he uses Magnet Storm, might as well. By the time you're back alive, you'll have it again anyway. Hextech Dragon doing a little bit of damage onto the roster of Furia as Broken Blade goes for the flank yet again. Ayu trying to escape as the Realm Warp gets Toots back to safety, but Broken Blade already has the stasis ready to go to buy enough extra time. Turn it around, guarantee the unstoppable kill there onto Gigo as the piercing hero. I praised him throughout the whole game, and that's a great example why Hans Sama is not missing on this Varus.
And the B1 picks, back-to-back, end up being huge. It was the Talia in game 1 for Furia. It's
All right, is that game?
in game 2 for G2, but obviously Broken Blade having an infinitely better game this time around. The team, they
believe
gave
that's
him a
it.
little more help, and he paid them back.
Yeah, Broken Blade here in the front line now. Finally drops. The shutdown goes over to JoJo. It ain't gonna matter. Furia.
All right, so that's 1
dropping like
Brazil,
flies at the
1
steps of the
EU.
fountain. G2
Not bad.
For the vengeance, and 34 minutes in, they're going to take their win and tie up this series.
Not bad.
Game
I
2.
cannot watch these next 3 games. I cannot. This is way too long.
It's a
First of
pullback
all,
game.
I'm gonna be honest.
That I think many of us were expecting after the game 1.
I need to care. I'll be back for this in after play-ins. After play-ins. Queue up. Cannot, bro. Isn't your ass sponsored? No, I'm not. But I will be watching after play-ins for sure.